Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to UWC22 here at Garrett's in the lovely South End on City.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout is a pro welterweight mixed martial arts contest to be held over 3 5-minute rounds. The person walking to the octagon fighting out of the red corner weighed in at 77.4 kilograms. He represents Ministry Martial Arts and Golden Glory, Romania. He has a pro record of 5 wins, 2 losses, no draws. Please put your hands together for Pascu Iron!
So, Pierre Goulet, our Master of Ceremonies, letting you know that Pascu Iron is from the Ministry of Martial Arts and Golden Glory in Romania. 5 wins, 2 losses from his 7 bouts. That's not a bad pedigree if you're going to train at clubs, is it there, Luke?
Oh, definitely not. I mean, Pascu Iron, I've actually seen him train, watched him hit pads, and he's got some power. You can see from his physique, he's a very strong, athletic, scary man. I have high hopes for this fight. I think Håkon Foss, again, he trains with the Norwegians that we saw earlier, Jack Hermansinger, and the guys I know very well, very elite fighters. And Pascu Iron has a great camp himself, and he is a very impressive jiu-jitsu specialist, and on the feet he's very, very, very sound. So we could have a real entertaining fight on our hands here. It's going to be a bit of a war, I think.
And it's great for the crowd here because, you know, it's very easy when you've got a local favourite and you've got ticket sellers like we saw Craig Daly before. But here, they're putting on a top international bout for the fans. And I mean, you know, for a promoter to do that, I think it's wonderful.
His opponent this evening, fighting out of the blue corner, weighed in at 77.4 kilograms. He represents Frontline Academy, Oslo, Norway. He has a professional record of 2 wins, 1 loss, no draws. Please put your hands together for Håkon Foss!
You know, Anya, this would be my home show considered. For me to fight here was difficult enough. To travel to a different country shows, you know, that they're really willing to put the effort in and come here and compete. One thing I'd say is, because of that, usually the guys are a bit more reserved with how many fights they've had. I mean, he's 2-1, but I'm sure this man's been training for a very, very long time, you know, to get those amount of fights in, because the availability for him isn't there. UWC does a great job of bringing in Norwegian, Italian, you know, and European fighters, and gives them that opportunity to showcase their skills. And without UWC, Håkon Foss wouldn't have that chance, you know, in his home country.
You're right. I mean, we've had the Dutch tonight, we've had the Norwegians, Romanians, Lithuanians, Italians, French, all on one card. Yeah. All on one card.
Which you don't very often see in England, especially, you know, there's a lot of English talent about, there's a lot of gyms about in England, so they really do try and focus on the English stars, but it's great to have such a collective mix of people here to fight. And I'm gonna go with the man, the lanky man this time again. We're gonna go back to that. I'm gonna stick with my lanky ways, and I'm gonna go for him.
Welterweight mixed martial arts contest and is sponsored by X-Women.
So, as you saw, the more experienced man, Pascu Ion, the non-lanky man from Romania, but very, very chiseled physique there, and looking at, well, both men looking supremely calm.
Very, very calm fighters. This is going to be, I think, one of the best fights we've seen this evening. I'm hoping for a very, very competitive bout, and they're both raring to go. You know, they don't want to wait.
And again, I always love this when, as I said, you've got a man so much taller than his opponent. You start thinking of the tools they bring to the table, how they're going to fight, how they're going to adapt, and whose game plan is actually going to go there.
I can imagine Pascal trying to bob and weave and get under with the hooks, or look for a takedown. He doesn't really want to play around with the range that Håkon's got.
That's right. Oh, the high point kick. He was off balance throwing it, but he set out his stall early.
Looked a bit like the Carlos Condit kick that we saw rock GSP there, with the way he moved his head.
And that's, you're right, the hooking power you saw immediately there of Pascu.
It's not phasing Håkon Foss, though. He looks very relaxed.
Oh, that one did. That one got through. And Håkon's having to tuck up. Now he's headhunting still. I would have gone for the body there.
That definitely stunned him, but he come back with some vicious shots, and I think that might have woken him up and made him think about his approach now.
maybe a slight cut on the forehead there. I can see maybe just a little bit of blood just above the eyes of Håkon Foss.
I mean, that was a heavy shot, and I think a lesser man would have gone down with that barrage afterwards. Entertaining the crowd
there from Håkon Foss.
with that, with the long limb frame as well. It's beautiful. Looking for a jumping knee. Got that tie plum. Very secure here.
Oh, short chopping hook again from Ion.
Great transfer there. Going from up high on the tie clinch to down low, but the power of Pascal overpowers Håkon, and he ends up on the bottom anyway, even though after a great transition.
That's right, and yeah, there's nothing to worry about. He is bleeding from the fall, but it's a graze from the glove, and it won't bother him at all.
These two are very well versed on the ground. I can tell straight away. Håkon looking for some deep half guard, which you do not see very commonly in MMA because of the shots that you can receive to the head. Comes out the back door. Nice jiu-jitsu there.
Pasco, he's not giving him any chance to breathe, though, is he? Pasco really trying to put the pressure on there and ask those questions of Håkon.
And he's got a pretty tight head and arm here. Håkon needs to look to control a wrist or work to get his head out and watch that judo throw. Oh, beautiful transition there from Pascal. How his balance switched and he got on top. That shows some experience in grappling there, because that takedown was nice from Håkon, and he reversed it straight into mount.
He's trapping that arm as well.
He just seems to be overpowering Håkon at the moment.
Well, we said, didn't we, right at the start, a very powerful physique, and you'd seen him on the pads, and he's living up to that.
He's struggling a little bit with the length of Håkon, like securing a position, but he's definitely dominating on the ground with those heavy shots.
Now also, when we talk about professional bouts, which our last bouts have been, to me professionalism is also the demeanour we're seeing from these two men. Their expressions haven't changed, no matter who's in ascendancy, no matter who's on the floor. There's the professionalism that oozes from these two for me.
Well, they would have seen these positions and been in these positions in the gym hundreds of times. They would have practiced to get out and what to do. And these guys know the fight's not over till it's over, so they're not going to give up. They're going to keep going till the very end. Oh, beautiful strikes there. Coming off of that jab.
Once he's backed Håkon up, I would love to see him switch below, because that power to the body or the rib cage or the liver could really be destructive against the taller opponent.
Yeah, and Håkon's big mistake is he's coming back in straight lines, which allows Pascal to do that, to really load up on the shot, look for the head or look for the body. You need to see, again, coming back in a straight line. He needs to be really wary of that, especially with the overhand left of Pascal, the power that's involved in that.
Well, he shot, but Pascal saw it.
Bit desperate, really, from that attempt there. I don't think he wants to deal with the power that Pascal Ion possesses. And we end up on the cage.
Well, the sad thing is, one of the alternatives to the way he goes back into the straight line is not to go at all. Push out the cheap kick, push it out with those long limbs, and stop him coming forward.
Or bring that big right knee up, and it can have the same effect. I just wonder if the big muscular frame of Pascal is going to tire in this fight. Doesn't look to be, but that's always something you think of.
You're right. I don't think so at the moment, because he's also conserved energy well. Everything he's thrown has had a purpose, like that beautiful little slip and then the right hand. But the best work from Håkon in the round so far.
Yeah, putting together a beautiful combination there. Uppercut, head kick. Lots of different shapes, and really building confidence in that combination.
Oh, you heard that, and for the first time, Pascal, he just wilted a little bit right across the midsection.
And you can see him growing confidence with that, with that landing. He's really pushing his opponent across the cage now. Very competitive first round. Very well-versed guys, talented fighters, and you can definitely tell that they have a game everywhere. Up against the cage wrestling, in the middle wrestling with a shot, reshooting, reversing that takedown, heavy hands, kicks. You've got it all in this fight, and it's definitely been a highlight for me so far tonight.
It has for me as well. As I said, I like the professionalism, the demeanour, the calmness about their work. But the thing I feel is, just at the end of the round, the balance of power might just have shifted a little bit, because that really shook Pascal, that kick across the bows. And you imagine if the next one goes there, but the third one goes high. We've seen a beautiful kick knockout tonight. If I was in his corner, I'd say, don't immediately go for the head. Push a couple more to the body. get Pascal worried about that, then switch up to the head.
Yeah.
It could be devastating. With that power to the face, it's over.
I think Pascal comes on strong in the first couple of minutes of the round, and then I think he does try and keep some energy going. So I think he'll come out fast at the beginning of this round, and then we'll see Håkon, you know, maybe survive the first couple of minutes and come back. He looks very confident coming into this second round, though, after that little combination he got at the end. And there is that kick that you speak about.
Yes, and he's put it at the right area as well. He's slowly going to, but surely, make Pascal think about that midsection. And then if he brings it up, it could be very dangerous.
And
indeed.
even taking those kicks to the arms is very dangerous, because you can break someone's arm and you can cause a lot of pain and a lot of damage there. And you can see just in Pascal how worried he is now about these attacks, and he's really, you know, not charging forward like he was in the early rounds.
No, he still needs to throw leather. Superman punch attempt from Håkon.
Favouring that kick a little bit too much now, maybe. It's the third one he's thrown.
Well, that was the right response. Go low then, because that's a big muscular lead leg to attack on the outside and inside of Pascal. And if he's a good boxer as well, attacking the legs will negate that. You know,
and it negates the wrestling ability to come forward and push off and use that power. Leg kicks are really underrated in MMA. But the thing we're not seeing from the taller man, which I'd like to see, is that pumping jab. As soon as I start talking, he starts throwing it. He's getting a bit happy with that kick, and I could see that backfiring as well.
We saw it once before with the Italian fighter, and that's my worry for Håkon. He's growing in confidence, but Pascal is still powerful. And we've seen it turn like this earlier in the night.
I mean, Håkon could just establish that jabs, rack the points up, you know, and keep him at bay rather than trying to commit to that big kick and then, you know, getting swung at like he just did.
Well, the thing is, when you commit to that right leg kick at close range, even though it's effective, you're bringing your body and face in towards those hooks.
He needs to establish that jab, keep him away, and you know, and really set that kick up a little bit better. It's obviously a good weapon for him.
Well, the other thing I want to pick you up on, Luke, and I think you're dead right, is in MMA, the leg kicks. Look at there, look at his range, look how safe that is. He can chop away at that lead leg with his own left leg all the time in relative safety.
It's strange, 100% though, those leg kicks are going to definitely work for the taller fighter, but it's a strange tactic here, coming in for the takedown when he was so dominant on the feet.
Exactly.
Maybe he's just trying to make him think, gets his hands clasped together, good reversal there. And looking for the suplex, but he failed, and Håkon ended up on top, looking for a guillotine. You know, the biggest problem with that guillotine is you give up position. It's a very offensive attack, and it could pay off dividends, but you give up your position. They scramble back to their feet.
And Pascal was a short little left hook in there, but obviously not so impressive at that range. And this is where I feel it's dangerous for Håkon. Either he's very confident now, but you don't want to be in the man's hooking range there. Oh, chopping elbow from Håkon himself here.
The man who seems to be tiring is Håkon rather than, you know, Pascal, who I thought would struggle with the weight. Oh, big shot there. Oh.
Yes, it was a delayed action. You said it was the right hand. It was a delayed reaction there, Luke, but it was flash on the button, and he throws it down. We said, and it's happened. That was the worry for Håkon Voss. There was no need to fight at that range. I mean, and he's pointing to his cheek, isn't he?
That's, in my opinion, I think that's a broken jaw. I mean, some power there from Pascal Iron. It reminds me of Cub Swanson versus Charles Oliveira, where he catches him with a big overhand right, and Charles stands there delayed and drops from the pain. And I think he's dropped there and maybe broke his cheek or broke his jaw. And that can show you that you don't mess around with power. When you've got a powerful man in front of you, like Pascal Iron, and like we're about to see with Jake Boswick, you do not want to be in front of him and not protecting yourself, because it can end badly.
We've seen it twice tonight, haven't we?
We have a winner in round 2 at 3 minutes, 8 seconds by way of KO. Fighting out of the red corner, Pascal Iron. Ladies and gentlemen, our next battle of the evening is a 4-minute rounds. And now, making his way to the octagon, fighting out of the red corner, he weighed in at 88 kilograms. He represents Norwich Kingside out of Norwich. He has a record of 1 win, no losses, no draws. Please put your hands together for Anish Tanda.
So we continue with the semi-pros, and Anish Dada from Norwich, and he's only had the one fight, but he has won it. And Luke, we've mentioned earlier, you said earlier, so much of your fight career is based on confidence. And so you've had one fight, you've won it, you've got no reason, for want of a better term, not to be confident, have you?
I mean, he's got a 100% record in the cage, and if you're victorious in your early steps in your career, it can really, you know, bring you on very, very quickly. I don't know how long he's had in between his last fight, but maybe that win has spurred him on, made him think he can really do this well, and he's put a lot more time into the gym. I mean, I know Norwich kicked off pretty well, the gym up there. I've been there a few times, and they had some great fighters come out of there. You know, you had Ian Martell, was one of their guys originally, who then came to train with me at Tsunami, and now I think he's up in Liverpool somewhere. But they know what they're doing, they have great coaches, and if he's coming off that one victory, I think he's going to come into this fight really, really confident.
And at semi-pro level, you've mentioned it yourself, fond memories here. This is a great show to get that experience on, because it gives you, it gives you that big show feeling though, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, UWC does things that other semi-pro shows don't. You know, obviously because it's mainly a pro card. When you're fighting semi-pro, you've got international opponents, you've got quite a big crowd. You know, you've got great compares.
91.8 kilograms. He represents South End Muay Thai in South End. He is making his semi-pro debut. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Scott Turner!
And again, you heard that pop from the crowd. That's because Scott Turner, South End Muay Thai, making his debut, but it's a home crowd. So we've talked about the pressure previously. But one thing I will say, look, more and more now, you see Muay Thai at the end of a club's name. It really is a great foundation now for mixed martial arts, isn't it?
I mean, this guy might be his debut in MMA, but you don't know how many Thai fights he's had. I actually saw him backstage looking very relaxed. He looks relaxed here. He's definitely going to come from a stand-up background, coming from the gym he's from. And that could be very, very dangerous, especially with the kicks and the knees. You know, you can knee and kick to the head in semi-professional rules, but there's no ground and pound. So he really has that advantage on the feet if he's got that Muay Thai background that we think.
When you know a fighter, Luke, and I'm talking about yourself personally, I said who's experienced now and knows what's what in every aspect, are you more cautious, or do you think it's a Muay Thai fight? When you're looking for your shoots or your takedowns, are you more wary of a man that's got a Muay Thai background?
I mean, Muay Thai is one of those really deadly forces, and if you're looking to take someone down, it's one of those strange things that if the guy's throwing heavy shots and heavy knees at you, you're going to worry about trying to take him down. But because you might be worried about getting taken down, you might not throw the heavy shots and the heavy knees. So it really, like I said, again, it comes down to the confidence the man has in his skills. And if he comes out blasting shots, throwing big knees, you might see his opponent really worry about that takedown and not be able to get it.
On the other side of the coin, with someone like yourself now who's experienced all types of fighters and knows, when you come out blasting with those big knees, maybe though gives you more of an opportunity for taking down.
That comes definitely with experience, I think. You know, if you're trying to lead your opponent on to throw a big shot or throw a big knee to get under and get that take, I'll be very impressed if we see that at this, you know, at this level, pro level.
Yes.
You know, if they're doing things like that, they've definitely got a bright future. I can imagine this fight is going to be a very aggressive fight. He's going to come forward very, very hard, and he's really going to look for that knockout. He's a stocky man. And I mean, in the other corner, when we've got Anish Dada, he reminds me a little bit of Denniston Sutherland. I don't know if you can see that in him.
Yes, he does look like Denniston, yes.
And if he fights like Denniston, we got something to worry about, because that man is very, very deadly.
Yes, I sometimes think Denniston doesn't get the recognition he deserves. He looks so laid back, but if you see his name in the opposite corner, it's a tough fight for you, win or lose. But the other thing I want to pick you up on, which has been proven here tonight, you mentioned about the leaps and bounds in the British game. The level of semi-pro we've seen here tonight has been excellent.
I mean, all three fights have been fantastic so far. I mean, this is the last fight before we go on to our pro card, and we'll see what it brings. Anis there with a very Dennis look on his face still as well, very relaxed, very chilled out, not really worried about it.
Yes, and Scott Turner, as we said, all the pressure on him in a way, because we heard the support as he came into the cage.
Scott definitely the bigger of the two, more powerful.
But we mentioned earlier, the one thing in Anis's favour is he's done this before. Even though it's only the once, he knows what it's like there. And this is the first time for Scott Turner. But as you said, we don't know how many Muay Thai fights he might have had.
And he goes for the shot. That's what's so great about MMA. You know, a fighter coming from a Muay Thai gym looking for a takedown.
Oh, the amount of times, as you know, Luke, because obviously with the commentaries, you've done them yourself. You've been on the other side in big, big shows. You set a fight up for something and it goes totally the opposite way.
I mean, but that happens too in camps and with training. You know, you could be training for a fighter and think he's going to do one thing, and he does the complete opposite. So the way I try and always think is I think about what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, and you know, and I try and implement that.
And when you talk about what you're going to do, Anis Dada has reversed this nicely, because it was Scott Turner went for the takedown, but he's the man in the bottom position now. Very slick from Dada, wasn't it?
Yeah, he used the momentum there from Scott, and he's really turned it around and got into this half guard position on top. Again, can't land the shots to the head, so he's looking to land body shots.
Now, when we talk about that, because obviously for safety they can't do the ground and pound yet, it's important for the judges to see a level of control then, isn't it, there? And I don't mean control as in controlling shots, as in controlling the person. And that's what Anis did there very well, didn't he? Okay, so he can't land to the head, but he's saying, look, I'm in control of this situation, as he's got his back now.
He's got the one hook on the right side, and Scott's trying to turn out and get back into his guard, which I think he's going to be successful in doing, and he does. You know, great vision there from Scott to see stacking him up, and you can really get some power in these body shots now.
Yes, the right hand pistoned out twice to the rib cage of Anis, but has he got the arm? Has Anis got? He's looking for the arm.
He's got a mixture of an arm bar and a triangle here, but gets shucked straight off. A very active fight on the ground here from these Muay Thai fighters that we thought we were going to see.
That's right.
We talk about control, it's completely shifted now.
Yes,
and Scott taking the back here of Anis.
And this is what I was saying about the level of semi-professional fights we've seen tonight. Excellent value for money, real slick transitions, all-round skills. And he's got the guillotine, has Scott Turner, but he hasn't really been able to...
Oh. And a takedown, but has he fallen deep into that guillotine?
Well, that was my worry for him, because Scott didn't really have it on deeply, but when Anis took him down, there's always the worry, and we see it a lot at semi-pro level, that you actually make it worse for yourself. It hasn't happened here to Anis Dada, but I've seen it so many times.
I mean, the thing with that is, on the takedown attempt, a lot of people do go to grab the heads and look for that guillotine, because it's quite an easy technique to pull off. But it's the complete wrong thing you want to do when you're trying to stop someone from taking you down. Beautiful transition there from Scott, coming out the back door and really landing heavy. This guy throws the lever like, you know, like someone who's had a lot of fights. See here how he's grabbing round his whole body and his head. He has no real control here. He wants to try and get an underhook, pull his opponent up, or push his head down to stop the drive with one of the arms. When he just grabs round his whole body, he's just clinging on to Dada, and if Dada wants, he can lift and get a take, which he's going to get.
Yes, but this will gain, you mentioned the experience. Now, it's been brought to our attention that alongside the Muay Thai, Scott Turner is a black belt judoka, which might make more sense of the way those transitions and the way he moved there.
He's definitely got a bit of a ground game, and he's looking for the takedown.
Oh, big right hand though, rocks Dada suddenly, and the right uppercut. Dada's legs have gone. This is over, Luke.
Oh. And there we go from a beautiful transition on the ground to a judoka to a knockout ice, and he gets the finish.
You said early in the fight you felt he had power. He showed it there. The right hand, then the right uppercut, then the third right, and it was all over. And Anis Dada looked shocked. He was in that fight right to the moment those three blistering punches landed.
Oh, definitely that uppercut was the one that did it for me. A beautiful change of shape, going up the middle and catching with that uppercut, shocked Dada, and then he just followed up very, very well. Killer instinct there from him as well. He's almost got the mirror image a little bit of a Buswick, you know, the size and the haircut.
but explosive finish from Scott Turner.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner by 3 minutes, 44 seconds in the very first round by way of KO. Please put your hands together for the fighter out of the blue corner, Scott Turner. And a round of applause for a valiant effort by Anise Dada.
Do you know what impressed me most?
We'll take a brief look at some of the highlights from future and previous UWCs.